சரி லைவ்
Madam,
கொடுக்குறேன்.
you are live.
So please start, sir.
Thank you, sir. Good morning, everybody. In this webinar program, I hope everyone being safe and secure yourself against COVID-19. On behalf of EGS Pillai Engineering College and the Department of Civil Engineering, my warm welcome to our resource person, Mr. M. Ravi Kumar, General Manager, Structural Design, L&T Infrastructure Development Project Limited. Welcome you, sir.
Sir, good evening. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. And I would like to say some few lines about Mr. Ravi Kumar, sir. He has completed his BE Civil from Madras University in the year 1999, and he has completed his ME Structural Engineering from Government College of Technology in the year 2004. He has an experience of more than 20 years in road and bridge engineering and designing. He has delivered number of unexpected things related with repairing and rehabilitation things, like new technology development, new system development, reduction in maintenance cost, technical papers, guided projects, etc. Today's session about application of NDT test and repairing and rehabilitation of bridges. It's a very wonderful area and topic which more useful to our civil engineering faculties and students. And I welcome the faculties and the students of EGS Pillai Engineering College and faculties and students from some other colleges from outside. Welcome everybody, welcome everybody. And my heartiest welcome to our CEO and other staffs for this webinar, sir. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I request our resource person, Mr. Ravi Kumar, sir, to share his thoughts and ideas about application of NDT test and repairing and rehabilitation of bridges. Sir, please.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for your welcome speech.
Thank you, thank you.
A warm good evening to all my dear participants and the faculty members from various engineering colleges. I thank the head of the department and the faculty members and the management and our professor for giving this wonderful opportunity in meeting you all related to the topic of application of NDT and repair and rehabilitation of bridges. My dear friends, see, repair and rehabilitation are two different terms. Whether it is a bridge or a building, concrete is a concrete, steel is a steel. Irrespective of type of structure, the concrete behavior will be of the same principle. Whether it is going to be a bridge or whether it is going to be a building, residential buildings. So now whatever the application that we are going to see today or discuss today will be also applicable. The problems that we face in the bridges will also be the problem in the buildings, because both are concrete structure. Any concrete structure will undergo deterioration during its life period, during its design life period, with reference to the environmental effect, with reference to atmospheric effect, with reference to the loadings that it is taking, and with reference to some chemical reaction. Because if the structure is being built near to the salinity area, if the structure is being built very close to the industrial area, the emissions from the industry, the salinity effect, the chloride effect, the sulfate effect, all will put together will affect the concrete. So the effect of concrete with reference to bridge or buildings are going to be similar. The point which we are going to discuss is what are all the different types of deterioration. Now, what is the cause of deterioration? What are different types of deterioration, and what are the treatments for that? So that is the topic that we are going to discuss in the next 1 hour. So I welcome you all to my topic, application of NDT. NDT, non-destructive testing. So without affecting the function of the component or the structure as a whole, you are going to do the test. It is something similar to, my dear friends, how the blood is being taken from your nerve without affecting the blood flow in your hand. during the lab test in your hand, how they are taking the blood sample of 5 ml, 2.5 ml, or 10 ml as per the requirement of the test, without affecting the blood flow in the nerve. The same way, without affecting the function of the beam, slab, or column, you are going to do the NDT, non-destructive testing. Now, the first slide which I want to discuss with you, my dear friends, is the effect of carbon dioxide, moisture, water, and sulfur dioxide. My dear friends, what is pH? When you put a concrete on a newly structure, the new concrete will have a pH value of presence of hydrogen ions. The pH value of a new concrete will be of 13 to 12.5. So pH is something like your immunity. So you are what in the present situation, I'm just, my dear friend, for easy or better understanding, I'm comparing these two terms, immunity and your pH. Now, how immunity you are, what is the same way the microorganism attack will be reduced or minimized or not. It will not take place. The same way, the pH value of concrete plays a vital role in protecting the concrete from the deterioration, because the cover concrete is the term that doesn't deal with the structural concrete. Cover concrete is only an external barrier that protects your internal structural concrete. What is structural? Which is structural concrete? The concrete which are confined within the reinforcement. That is called as structural concrete. And the steel which are you provided, 12 mm dia, 16 mm dia, 25 mm dia, 32 mm dia, whatever may be the type of diameter of the steel, that steel is your structural steel. So to protect these two components, one is the concrete embedded within the steel and the structural steel. To protect these two components, your cover concrete is going to play important role. So this cover concrete, because it is exposed to the atmosphere environment, due to the presence of carbon dioxide, sulfur dioxide, and the moisture, that will keep on attacking your surface of the concrete. It is something like how we have been in the air, so many virals, so many the microorganisms will be present. So you are how you have been protected by your immunity. The same way the cover concrete protects. So when the cover concrete pH value keeps on reducing because of this continuous impact, when it reaches anything less than 10, slowly it causes injury to your structural steel. It will cause injury to your structural concrete inside. So therefore, it is always essential, my dear friends, to maintain your cover concrete, very, very important, and to maintain the pH. You are going to only maintain. The reduction of pH cannot be avoided, because since the concrete is continuously exposed to your environmental condition. That is why, my dear friend, the code also gives important criteria with reference to the exposure condition. My dear friends, the exposure conditions are classified as moderate, severe, very severe, extreme. Now, where the building or bridge is going to come, if the condition is moderate, then the cover concrete is 40 mm. Then if your environmental condition is very severe or extreme, then the cover concrete will be 50 mm minimum cover. Then when the concrete cover which is exposed towards the earthen face, for example, your retaining wall, so wherever the concrete is exposed towards your earthen face, there the cover will be 75 mm. That is why for all the retaining wall surface which are facing towards the earthen surface, that a portion will be given a higher cover concrete 75 mm. Similarly, in the foundation also. Why in the foundation? Because sometimes the foundation where it is going to be laid on the earthen surface, that the earth may get infected with the chemicals. Some chemical action will be there. My dear friends, you have to keep in mind what is the importance of PCC leveling course. Leveling course main function is not only with reference to making the ground level, but it has also another important point. It also protects your foundation footing reinforcement from the chemical attack. It is an additional barrier. In addition to your cover concrete of 75 mm, the additional layer of minimum 100 mm leveling pad is also essential. It also has two important roles. One is to level the surface and also to protect your foundation structural steel from the corrosion. Because sometimes, because whatever we see, the deterioration only on the surface above ground level. We cannot see what is happening below the ground level. So that is why the leveling pad or leveling course with a minimum grade of M15. Nowadays, when the extreme condition is very severe or extreme, the code governs, it gives a minimum grade of concrete of M20 concrete. Okay. So, my dear friends, who are the participants of undergraduate, you please parallelly train yourself with reference to the code. The code is, if it is going to be a building design, IS 456. If it is going to be a bridges, you have to deal with IRC code, IRC 6. Now IRC 112 has also come because all the bridges nowadays are designed using limit state method. So these three stages, stage 1, stage 2, stage 3. When it reaches the structural steel, the corrosion effect will be very severe, and the structural concrete inside also will get deteriorated. So it is always essential to protect your structural steel and structural concrete by maintaining a uniform cover all along the surface of the respective component. Now, what is this? See, this is suitable to the present situation. My dear friends, see, you have been asked to protect, we all been asked to protect the two entry points. One is nostril entry point, another one is through our mouth. These are the two entry points through which the microorganism can easily penetrate. Okay, so these two entry points are covered by using the mask. So the same way, my dear friends, you have to provide adequate number of cover blocks and at adequate location. Before concreting, it is the duty of the site supervisor or site in charge to ensure that adequate number of cover blocks at adequate location is very, very essential. Now, sometimes our people they used to wear mask only covering mouth, but they leave the opening of nostrils. But my dear friends, the microorganism can easily enter to the any one of the entry point, whether if through mouth or nose. If you are closing only one entry point, it will find the other part. The same way, my dear friend, if you are
can easily enter to the any one of the
if you are not going to provide cover block, if you are not going to provide a cover block at uniformly at a respective location, adequate number at adequate location, then due to inadequate cover, wherever the cover is very less, if the requirement is 40 mm, if the requirement is 50, if the requirement is 75, wherever the cover is less, that particular region will easily get infected. Infected means with reference, it will get easily deteriorated. So what will happen? The pH will slowly, the rate of pH deterioration will be higher at those points, and it is, and the corrosion will be, the rate of corrosion will be very severe. So you see in the next photograph, my dear friends, when the, what is corrosion? Corrosion is nothing but the electrochemical process, anode and cathode. It's a flow of ions. The same principle here. Now, my dear friends, when the bar get corroded, it is going to its parent stage. What is parent stage? Parent stage is iron ore. So that is why its volume getting increased. The volume will get increased to 5 times. So when the volume is increased, it will push the concrete outside. That is why you call it as a peeling of concrete. As in this figure, I'm just using my pointer so that you can easily understand. You see this region, it is getting peeling, it is coming out. Now slowly it will spill off, concrete will take place, exposing the corroded reinforcement. So therefore, provision of cover plays a vital role. Please keep in mind. Now you see this another photograph. So where your cover corrosion and slowly is getting peeling off, then and if this condition continues, all will get spill out. Now you see why you are seeing a crack running parallel to the reinforcement. So why this crack is running along the reinforcement parallel? My dear friends, as I told, due to the corrosion process, the volume of the steel will get increased. So when the volume getting increased, what will happen? That it will develop a tensile force. As everybody knows that concrete is very weak in tension. So what will happen due to this increased tensile force? A crack will be developed along the length of the corroded steel bar. That is why in the column, whenever you see a parallel vertical crack, that may be crack running along the reinforcement. So it is one sign of showing that reinforcement embedded inside are corroded. Now stains. So if when you see a stains on the surface, then it is also another sign of corrosion. You see a crack running parallel to the reinforcement here. See, it is running parallel. Okay, so therefore the cover is very less. Wherever cover is very less, there the problem will deterioration will happen. So the sign of corrosion will be peeling of concrete, spalling of concrete, crack running parallel to the reinforcement, and stains. Now you see in the wall type pier, you will be provided a reinforcement, red color or main steel and yellow color or distribution steel. Okay, so if you see any crack parallel, so the parallel cracks are running along the red line, that is along the longitudinal reinforcement. So my dear friends, I hope this is the bridge that you have been seen in Nagapattinam. Am I right, sir? Am I right, sir?
Yes, yes, it is.
Sure, sir. Yes.
It is a, yes. My dear friends, you have to ask your own question to yourself. Why suddenly a bowstring span is coming? It is a continuous bridge where it's been constructed along the backwater. I hope the sea will be here. So this is a backwater flow. Okay. Why suddenly a two span is of with bowstring, whereas adjacent spans are beam type? That is, beam in buildings you call it as beam, whereas in bridges we call it as a girders. Why suddenly? You see, the purpose is, my dear friends, there will be some navigation. The boats which used to catch the fish, they have to come, they have to cross this bridge. Therefore it is always necessary that you have to provide a vertical clearance, adequate vertical clearance. So for example, in this photograph you are seeing water level is very, very low. But during your high tide, when the tide is increasing, then what will happen? The water table may come up to this level, say 20-30% height of the pier. So when the water level rises, during that time also, the boat should easily pass through. It should have adequate vertical clearance. So my dear friends, when I'm going with the girder type for a longer span, the depth of the span, the beam will be very large. For example, if the span is say 50 meters, so two spans of 50 meters, for example. So if I go with the girder type, see, the thumb rule is, if it is going to be RCC T-beam girder, it will be a 1/12 of the span. If it is going to be a PSE girder, it will be 1/16. If it is going to be a PSE boss girder, it will be a 1/18 of the span, or even 1/20. If you are going with the wider type slab, it will be more 1/20 or 1/25 of the span also you can go. But if you go with the steel, then you will have a you can go with higher. It is purely based upon the deflection criteria. But in not generally, whenever it is a quite practice in the earlier days, whenever you come with a longer span, you go with a bowstring. See, I'm just sharing a next photograph during the construction time, the bowstring bridge, where you see in between the bowstring how closely it is being provided with the supporting arrangement, props underneath to withstand the dead load of the superstructure. So it is a general practice in the olden days to go with the bowstring, because if a span is 50 meter, you can restrict within 1.5 to 2 meter, you can have the total superstructure height. So when you go with such type, your vertical clearance will be maintained, even though at the high flood level or high tidal wave level also. So that is why in this particular bridge, they have provided two spans for the navigation purposes. So during even the water level also increases. And okay, that is the main purpose for providing suddenly a introduction of two bowstring bridge. How these forces are interacting? See, if it is something, my dear friend, it is something like how in our houses, our children used to play with the bow. See, this is the bow. Okay, in this bow, force one direction, it will go act in this direction, and in this direction the force will act towards this support and this support, and this is see, it is something like here. Okay, so force for this side, force will distribute, and this side towards this support, and this will, you call it as a tie beam. You are tying, how in your bow you are tying with a thread from one end to another end. That thread we call it as a tie beam. So in this tie beam, the force from it will act like this. Okay, and in between, to increase more stiffness, you are introducing the hangers or suspenders. The suspenders will behave like a column. Okay, so then it will act this and this force distribution. So if you want to design you can go with any sort of design, provided you understand a clear picture of how the forces are distributed. Then one more point which I want to highlight here is, see the superstructure. This photograph is been taken after completing the painting the superstructure. Why painting is required? Because see, already you have provided a cover. Now it is something like already you will be having a good immunity power. But why you are being asked to wear mask, why you have been asked to wash hands, even though you are having an adequate immunity, the simple procedures will prevent the infection. It will minimize or it will delay the process of infection. The same way, in addition to the adequate cover provision, if you paint externally, because as I told in the earlier slide, 3 stages: stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, the concrete will be continuously impacted with the carbon dioxide, because since it is very close to the seashore, so the chloride effect will be more. So therefore, an additional protective layer paint, that paint may be of anti-carbonation paint, so that will be essential to protect the structure which are very close to seashore. This is during construction. Now I am just want to share some videos here. Okay, just a moment. Yeah.
Is a high-performance aliphatic acrylate-based protective and decorative coating for concrete and masonry. The principal usage of this product is to protect atmospherically exposed reinforced concrete structures from attack by acids, gases, chloride ions, sulfates, oxygen, and water. Generally, there are certain problems which are observed in any structure. Concrete structures are subjected to attack of aggressive chemicals, aggressive environment, aggressive radiation, physical damage, exposure to fire, explosions. To compensate or to overcome all these problems, there are factors. A few, they are moisture, breathability, UV resistance, aesthetical appearance, user friendliness or ease of application, flexibility, economics, durability, and last but not the least, environment friendliness. As a coating comes in 2 layers. The first is a silicon silane based primer, which is a colorless primer. This has to be applied as seen. Since it's colorless, the main purpose of this product is it gets impregnated inside the concrete structure and prevents moisture to enter inside the building. Application is as shown. Once primer is applied, we need to leave a drying time of minimum 5 to 6 hours. Once the primer is dried or once it's impregnated inside the structure, then top coat is applied. Top coat normally comes in any color. It's a decorative coating. Before application, the product has to be mixed thoroughly as seen. Then, as a normal paint, this product has to be applied on the drying surface. Being decorative coating, as stated earlier, it comes in any color suiting customer's requirement. This product is generally an acrylic base which prevents the structure from carbon dioxide, chloride ions, sulfate, oxygen, and water ingress inside the concrete, thus making the construction a healthy construction. To reinforce, deck guard is basically a high-performance aliphatic acrylate dual-layer protective cum decorative coating system to protect the reinforced.
Okay, friends. So this is a small video which enhancing you to understand the process of anti-carbonation painting, or to a protective painting is done on the surface of the concrete to avoid or to minimize or to increase the rate of, to reduce the rate of deterioration on the concrete. My dear friends, the purpose is, you may think, sir, it is a painting, it is not an engineer job, it is only a painter job. My dear friends, you have to clearly understand that the process of painting is being defined by the engineers only. So you have to be very well thorough that what is the process, step by step procedure. First the surface has to be prepared, then you have to apply primer. What is the curing period between the primer and the first coat of the the actual anti-carbonation paint? Then if required, a second coating also can be taken up. So therefore, if you are very thorough with the things or with the procedures, then you can easily manage the workers at the site. Because managing the workers, particularly the graduate students or postgraduate students, when you come out, you should feel yourself that confident that you are fit enough to tackle or to manage the workers at the site. Because you have to hear the words or whatever the points that your workers are saying. Provided if it is good, you have to take a call. If not, you please proceed as per the procedure what is given in the material supply, the manufacturer. One more important thing is, whenever you go for this type of any procedures, first thing is you have to see what is the date of manufacturing, what is the shell life, and what is the expiry date. All these things have to be noted down. Now next, my dear friends, all the bridges are undergoing this type of loadings, cargo movements, because some bridges will have a connectivity towards the port. So for the cargo movements, the bridge has to withstand this type of loadings. So when your bridge is subject to this type of heavy loadings, it should be durable enough to overcome all this deterioration and meets its service life. What is the service life of the concrete structure? It is 100 years design life. So 100 years design life has to be met. So for that, the maintenance is very, very important. The responsibility, most of the people are thinking about themselves that the term quality is not related to the design office. The term quality is related to site. It doesn't work like that, because the quality, the term has to start from the drawing room. You have to qualitatively prepare the scheme. You have to qualitatively prepare the detailing. You have to qualitatively prepare the procedure, step by step procedure, and that procedure should be user friendly. And you have to deliver all the details in such a manner that the site people can able to understand. Because my dear friends, the language of civil engineers is drawing. So you have to be very clear in the deliverables. And prevention is better than cure. Therefore, a clear maintenance, routine maintenance, periodical maintenance, critical maintenance. If this process is followed, then your structure durability will be maintained. When the durability is maintained, your design life also you can achieve. That is why if you see the advertisement of Duracell, how they are comparing with other battery, the durability. They are comparing with the durability, long run. Okay. So if civil engineers should not forget the important term durability. When your durability is affected, then the deterioration you are welcoming the deterioration. Then repair, timely observing the problem and timely adopting the solution will always enhance the durability and serviceability. Now, how the inspection? Inspection has to be takes place by using mobile inspection unit, because I cannot say, an engineer cannot say reasons are the component is very high. What you cannot say everything is good from standing at the bottom and say everything is good. You have to go closer to the component and ensure its function, ensure its condition. So nowadays they are having mobile bridge inspection unit where it will take to the respective component location and see the condition. Now, there is a beautiful Quran Thiruvallur has written 2000 years back. Noi nadi, noi mudal nadi, adu tanikum vai nadi vaipachel. What does it mean? It says, நோயாளியின் உடல் மாற்றங்களால் வந்துள்ள நோயை இன்னது என்று அறிந்து அந்த நோய் வருவதற்கான மூல காரணத்தையும் அதை தீர்க்கும் வழியையும் அறிந்து அதை போக்குவதில் தவறு வந்துவிடாமல் மருத்துவர் செயல்பட வேண்டும். It is there, what he says means the whenever the patient is undergoing some problem, the doctor should not start or cannot start the treatment directly. He has to understand the pain. What are the pains, symptoms? Then what are the root causes? And what is the duration of that problem? Then how much time the patient is undergoing? Then he has to start. Then only he has to start the treatment procedure. Here, the same way, here the patient for civil engineers or structures, here the doctor is replaced by engineers. So engineers have to understand the pattern of the problem. And he has to map the pattern. He has to understand if the crack is there. He has to map the crack, whether it is vertical, longitudinal, or horizontal. Then whether the crack is propagating from the top to bottom or bottom to top, or whether the crack is present all the sides of the beam, or whether if it is column, whether the crack is diagonal, or whether it is a circumferential or vertical crack. So all the pattern has to be mapped. Then he has to understand the load distribution of the structure, how the loads are getting distributed. Then he has to start the preparation of step-by-step procedure. Then if required, he has to go for NDT test. Then based upon NDT test, with this observation, visual observation, he has to go near to the structural component, and with the observation pattern mapping, and he has to correlate this visual observation and the test result. He has to correlate these two and prepare the suitable methodology, and then he has to select suitable material. Then he has to deliver to the site. So therefore, inspection of element is very, very important. If the engineer is, whatever he is hearing through his ears, whatever he is seeing through his mobile, the photographs, he cannot take a call. He or she, they have to inspect the site. They have to understand the problem, just like the doctors, how they deal with the patient. Because here the patient is your structure. Now, NDT, we have explained earlier. Now, this slide describes why NDT is required to estimate the concrete strength, corrosion, the defect. Whether the concrete, the surface may show very clear, but based upon the surface look alone, you cannot take a call. You have to be the inside, the structural concrete inside should also be free from voids. It should be free from pores. It should be free from cracks. Then laboratory test. Now in this subsequent 3 slides, you will be seeing the list of NDT test. What is its capability? Why by doing this test, what you will get? So if you do ultrasonic serial number 5, it is good to understand the cracking. It is good to understand the voids, but it is not suitable to understand scaling, corrosion, and strength. Next, it is another set where you have serial number 8, rebound hammer. It is not suitable to understand cracking, scaling, corrosion, wear and abrasion, or voids, but it is suitable to understand the strength. Then similarly, cover meter. Through this cover meter test, you will understand, my dear friends, that it is not suitable to understand any of these things. Then you can raise a question, why this test is required when it is not suitable for any of things? My dear friends, cover meter is an equipment which will enable you to understand what is the actual cover. Your drawing may say for 40 mm, 50 mm, but whether it is actually adopted at site. So that 40 mm, 50 mm cover, it will be seen, mapped. It is something like ultrasound scan. You can see in the monitor what is the actual cover, what is the diameter of the bar, and bar location, bar spacing. Everything can be mapped by using cover meter. Now this is the photograph view of cover meter. So in this, the monitor, you will see all the details. Now UPV, even nowadays all colleges are having a ultrasonic pulse velocity test. This is the test to understand the quality of concrete placed, whether it is free from voids, internal cracks. So it has two conducers. One will be introducing the current, another one will be a receiver end. So when it is the same formula for how we used to go for velocity equal to distance traveled by time taken. So the distance traveled by time taken, this will be a receiving end, this will be our sending the current. Whatever you see in this photograph is a indirect test. There will be a direct test where you can keep the receiving end of the conducer are opposite to this location. Sometimes the site condition may not allow you to do direct test, keeping your conducers opposite to each other. So therefore you have to go for the indirect test. So based upon the velocity, you see that 4.5 above means it is excellent. That means the condition is good. When the condition of the concrete is good, then it will have the design strength, the characteristic strength. If it is below 3, it is poor. That means even though the surface looks good, that internally it is having crack, it is void. Now this is a carbonation test, phenolphthalein indicator. So you have to spray a phenolphthalein indicator on a freshly concrete so that you will get two options. One is probability is completely colorless, and another probability is partly color and partly colorless, and another combination is completely color. So pink color shows that the area is free from carbon dioxide. Colorless portion shows that it is infected with the carbon dioxide. Now that is another test, half cell potential. This test is utilized to understand the corrosion, whether my steel provided inside is in a corrosion rate is initial, transient phase or final. Now then there are a number of list of tests. The core test, concrete core test is one of the laboratory tests, pH value test, chloride content test, sulfate test. So as per the need, the engineer in charge has to choose the respective testing. Now, see in this slide, we are going to see step-by-step procedure what to be adopted for taking the core. So first you have to use the cover meter and understand what is the actual cover, what is the bar location, what is the bar spacing. Then after that step is completed, you have to mark what should be the depth of my drill bit to be penetrated inside. I have to mark that. Then you have to fix the drill bit on the concrete surface and you have to start the activity. Then after completing, you have to remove the drill bit and you have to take out the sample, just like how you are taking a piece of cake from the cake cutting. Same way you have to take, so no damage to the core. So after taking out, you can see internally it is completely free from voids and steel is not exposed. Therefore, it is good. Now, after taking out, if any cracks are there, you can even measure what is the depth. Then after taking out, it has to be completely sealed. You should not left as void. It should be completely sealed with micro concrete or epoxy concrete, so that it should meet the parent concrete strength. So when you are filling it, you have to apply bonding agent, because the bond between the new concrete and the parent concrete should be enabled. Okay, therefore you have to apply bonding agent, then only you have to fill it. So now this is the video where you will see how the drill bit activity. One minute. Madam, video is visible now, madam?
Yes, sir.
I have just muted the sound to. Okay. So you'll have a huge sound, so that in order to protect your ears, I just muted. Okay, so this is how the activity of coating. Suppose your site condition doesn't permit you to go for core cutting. Now in that case, sir, how I can ensure my the strength of my concrete implemented at the component. So there is another test, that is capo test. It is something similar to pull out test. So for a 25 mm, you have to insert this. Then this triangle portion, the force required to pull, that means in this triangle yellow color, you will develop a crack. So that the triangle frustum will come out. So the force required to remove that triangular portion is related directly to the compressive strength. So this is another type of test where the core test cannot be taken. Sometimes site condition may prevail, will not allow you to take concrete core. So in that cases, you can do this simple test and understand the concrete strength. Now everywhere I cannot carry my your NDT test. So then in that case, how I can understand my soundness? So the simple is tapping test. You have to take a small hammer and hit over the surface of the concrete. If you hear like a bell ring like this, then the area where you are tapping is free from voids, is free from cracks, no voids inside. Now suppose if you are hearing the sound like wood, then the area behind where you're hitting is having a void. So in this way, you can understand the soundness of the concrete. Even the students who are the laboratory concrete lab, they can practice this type of small things after taking the cube out of the water tank. You will be keeping it for the sunlight for half an hour or 1 hour for completely dry. So in the dried piece of the cube, you can just tap with the hammer and see the soundness. Now this is another video of how to do the cracking repair. My dear friends, in this video, you can see they are applying that material, repairing material. Okay, it may be of epoxy resin or even a PMC, whatever may be the chemical that they are injecting. Now, what is the purpose when they are providing some injection point? Why it is necessary to seal this? Because whenever you are injecting here, the outflow should come here only. It should not come out in between. So that is why they are sealing the surface all along in between the gaps, the ports, all along the length of the crack. It is completely sealed, so that when you inject at this point, so against gravity, this resins, even it can, you have a fast flowing resin and low viscosity resin also. So as per the site condition, you can select it. Even 0.1 mm crack also, width crack also can be closed. So when you are injecting, it will slowly move, and if this is not been sealed, this area is not been sealed in between the ports, what will happen? Whatever you're injecting, it will come out, so it will not pass through the other areas. So that is why first, after fixing the port, the outer surface of the length of the crack are completely sealed. Okay. One minute. And it is leveled. why this is up this before applying, you have to ensure that no foreign matter are present in between the flow of tube, or no, it should be free from air bubbles. You see, so my dear friends, in this way you have to seal the crack. My dear friends, this method cannot be applicable for all. First of all, it is the duty of the engineers to understand whether it is a structural crack or non-structural. So repair is the term which involves the process of restoring some damages. The damage may be a crack, the damage may be removal of tiles and replacing. So this term repair doesn't involve with the strength parameter. Okay, my dear friends. Now, this I'm just going to share this upcoming slides or with application of how to the cracks are sealed with the help of monomer. Monomer is a one type of polymer. It is used to close the crack under the honeycombs. Now, first you have to map the cracks. If it may be a shrinkage crack, plastic shrinkage cracks. So these are all applicable only for non-structural crack. Then after mapping, it should be cleaned. Step 2, the surface has to be prepared. Step 3, this is the view after cleaning the surface, where the area where the monomer polymer is going to be provided. Now, this material can be applied by using a brushing type, or it can be also injected as per the need at the site. So this is the view during the application. Now this is the view after application. So what is the purpose, sir? If it is crack, my dear friends, you have to, this is the view of that monomer. My dear friends, you have to understand the code gives a provision of 0.2 mm, 0.3 mm crack allowable, permissible. What is 0.2? When the environmental condition is very severe or extreme, then in that case the crack width of 0.2 mm is allowed. Okay. Now, if the environmental condition is moderate, then the crack width is 0.3 mm. So, sir, you can say, sir, when the code itself is allowing, why I have to go for a crack sealing? Because through these cracks, these are all something like a gateway opening where you are welcoming the moisture to penetrate, where you are welcoming your carbon dioxide to penetrate inside, because concrete is a porous material, so it will easily enter inside and it will increase the rate of corrosion. It will affect the good structural concrete, it will affect the good structural steel. So that is why it is always necessary to seal the surface crack. Now this is the view of that monomer polymer resin inside the container. My dear friends, when the mixing of the material has to be take place, you should not mix it with the wire brush or with the stick. It should be mixed using a mechanical mixer, because uniform mixing is also very, very important in playing a vital role to meet our requirement, because all these are all chemicals. So if small error, a small mistake at any level of application will always result in not achieving the purpose or design strength. So the pot life of this material is only 30 minutes. So when you open the container, when you take the liquid out, you have to apply it within 30 minutes. Otherwise, it will become like a gel. So the site supervisor or in charge has to keep in mind 3 things. One is manufacture date, what is the expiry, and what is the shell life or pot life. Now, when you come across a sunken slab, what is the procedure? So this is something related to in our childhood days. We might have studied a story where a crow will come and stand on a pot, and you will see below the water will be at the lower most level. So what it will do, it will take a few pebbles from the nearby area, it will keep on adding it. So the volume of water will rise due to the addition of pebble, and it will come to the level where it can easily take the water through his mouth. So the same way, when the slabs are getting sunken, what you have to do, all along the area of the surface area of the slab, sunken slab, you have to provide 100 mm dia hole, and for the full depth, and you have to fill it with the cement or cement slurry or lime slurry. You have to fill it. So when this liquid slurry flows freely and occupies all the wider portion, and this slurry will slowly bring the slab to upward. So this is one way of rectifying the sunken slab, which is predominantly followed at the site also. Now, this is a subway, a typical cross section of a pedestrian subway. Okay, now this pedestrian subway, during whenever rain comes, water table rises on the side. Okay, then through the pores, through the cracks, through the voids of the side wall, the water gets seeped inside, and it causes disturbance to and affecting the pedestrian usage. So now we have to put a full stop to this water seepage inside. Now, first, as I told, the engineer who is going to involve in this treatment procedure, he has to understand the problem, and he has to identify the source, root cause of the problem. Then he has to map it. Then he has to apply a suitable method and a suitable material. Now, this root cause for this is, along the construction joints, the water is getting seeping inside or dripping inside. So this is the view of water stagnant inside. Now you see in this, all along the sideway of the side wall, the locations has been mapped. You see, you can say, sir, whenever water comes inside, I can pump out. Why I have to go for repairing? My dear friends, you have to put a once for all a end to this problem, so that the pedestrian usage will be a continuous. So now the material used here is polyurethane. It is a polyurethane material which is chemical. When it injected, when it reacts with water, it will not dissolve. Due to its hydrophobic reaction, what will happen? A hard bound elastic foam material will develop, and this foam material is a elastic material, and it will resist the water seepage. So therefore, even when water table rises on the outer face, the water will not able to come inside. Now the procedure is through this mechanical this is the mechanical packer through which it is injected. Now to provide, so the mechanical packer has to be should be packed firmly in the concrete, so that when you are injecting chemical, due to this pressure, this mechanical packer should not get affected. Now this is the view where it is completely sealed. Now when the mechanical packer has a control valve, when you open the control valve, the water is bursting out. So therefore, the mapping is correct. Now this is the machine which is used to inject this material. This material will come in part A, part B, and you have to inject 1:1. Therefore, to avoid the confusion from the starting point to the ending point, the two tubes, part A, part B, it is color wrap. So therefore, green means A, B, red means B. So from the starting and to ending, the workers involved in that activity will always insert the tube in the respective A and B container. There will not be any sometimes after the end of the first batch, by mistakenly they should not insert A to B, B to A, because it is a complete chemical reaction. Now this is the gun through which the chemical will be injected at 1:1. Now before injecting, you have to flush out. Now this is the view of injecting. Now during the process of injecting, it is always very important to collect the sample. So when you collect the sample, you have to write all. The engineer in charge or supervisor has to collect the sample during the injection process. He should not collect the sample from the container. Okay, then all the details of date, time, the packer location, everything has to be written. And to understand the hydrophobic reaction, when we add a small few drops inside the collected sample container, you see hard-bound foam is developed inside. This is how the process will take place inside the concrete also. You see, after injecting, since it is a low viscosity fluid, it is traveling towards against the gravitation force also. You see, here it is injected, it is coming out in this. So that means it fills all the minor cracks which are not visible to our naked eye. All the void, everything will be completely filled. And when it is repulsed out, when it coming out, that is a sign that means the material has filled all the loop points behind that loop packer. So then you have to shift to the next point. Now all the hardbound waste material has to be collected and it has to be disposed out. My dear friends, sometimes a small quantum may get remain in the part A or part B. You should not mix it. This should be avoided, thinking that I am going to save the quantity. Nothing. In the repair and rehabilitation is an art. You cannot take any risk. It is a one-time solution. And finally, it has to be sealed. And after end of every container, it has to be the in charge has to write his signature and empty and date. Everything has to be marked. Now, so far we have seen the process of repairing. Now, rehabilitation is a process. You are retaining the component or structure to its original good condition by adding value to the strength. So whenever you are involving with the strength parameter, then the process is called rehabilitation. So the process jacketing is one form of rehabilitation. So it is a small video to understand the concept of jacketing. Why jacketing of column is important? The jacketing is a process. It can be done for column beam anywhere as per the requirement. So step 1, prepare the surface. Step 2, mark the new reinforcing bar location and the prepared. My dear friends, anchoring the new reinforcement into the beam is very, very important, because in the method of jacketing, you are increasing the geometry and you are adding strength. So anchor it, then your new column area will get increased. So your new column surface area has to behave like the original. So the anchoring of the new reinforcement into the beam or a slab at the top is very, very important. You have to adapt the same anchorage length and the developed length. Everything has to be followed the same way. Step 4. I'm sorry. Then step 5, you have to inject the epoxy injection and you have to drill the new reinforcement. Then you have to fix the longitudinal reinforcement. Then you have to put the shuttering. The shuttering should not have any voids in between, because when you fill the concrete, it should not come out. So it should be completely encased. Then you have to bring your mixing machine and you have to apply the concrete. This concrete should also have a original parent concrete strength. So the design strength of the concrete should be the same. Then you have to apply. So there should not be any cavity. Okay, my dear friends. So this is a small video to understand the concept of jacketing. Now next, another method, that is steel plate bonding. where this is also method which is involved to increase the strength parameter. The strength may be in terms of shear strength or it may be in terms of flexural strength.
Young repair putty.
Friends, this is the equipment which we have discussed earlier, cover meter. To understand what is the actual cover, because when you're anchoring the steel plate, the anchor bolt should not disturb or should not injure the reinforcement inside. So by using cover meter, you can understand what is the actual cover, what is the bar dia, what is the spacing. Then accordingly, you have to find the suitable location where you can anchor it. I'm sorry. So you have to, after mapping, you have to drill the anchor location inside. Now this is the steel plate. The steel plate surface should be prepared well. This is the mechanical mixer. You should not use any hand mixing. See friends, this oozing out, it should be very even. Okay, this material is going to play a bonding role between the steel plate and the concrete surface. When this bonding is good, then the behavior, the purpose for increasing the flexure, the purpose for increasing shear strength will be achieved. Yeah, this is also very, very important. So here they have used tapping. So when you tap the steel plate bottom where you have anchored, you should not hear any void. If you are hearing void, that means there is a minor gap between the steel plate provided and the concrete surface. So when the voids are there, the load transferation, it may be in terms of flexure or it may be in terms of shear, will not take place. So that is another method of rehabilitation. Now the another method is wrapping, CFRP wrapping system. So this is to understand why it is essential to go with the CFRP wrapping, carbon fiber reinforced polymer. Madam, I request to kindly give me another 10 minutes so that I can complete it, madam.
Okay, sir.
Okay, no problem, sir. You carry on, sir.
Carry on, sir.
Kindly bear with me, sir.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Thank you, madam. Friends, you have to understand when you're doing your compressive strength in your concrete lab, why this concrete is undergoing a development of cracks. First of all, the development of cracks in the concrete cube or cylinder, why it is happening. Whether it is because of compression is happening, you have to please keep in mind that concrete is strong in compression. Then why the cracks are appearing when you are increasing the load? Please think what is the behavior, what is happening, because that also very, very important. You, my dear friends, the important fact is when the concrete is very good in compression, why suddenly cracks are developing, you have to understand, because your bottom, You are thinking that you are applying load at the top, but at the same time the bottom surface, from that also a opposite reaction is taking place. So that means the concrete material which you are placed inside is under tension. Okay, my dear friends, you have to keep in mind, since it is weak in tension, that is why when it reaches its limit of tension, the concrete is expressing its pain, expressing its failure in tension with the pattern of crack development. So the crack development in the concrete under compression test is not because of compression. Please keep in mind. And you should not forget this till your end of your life, till you're practicing.
Just as it could in a real life seismic event. Then we took the column wrapped in Sikarac.
So now one is you are tested the cylinder without wrapping system. Now next you are wrapping with the same cylinder with the same grade, say for example M25 or M30. Now how the wrapping is going to add value in terms of strength?
On goes the compression force. At this point, the unwrapped column will fail. When posted double the compressive forces exerted on it. Finally, the Sikarac column fails.
So my dear friends, you have just seen earlier it is some 260, now it has doubled. So that means after adding the wrapping system, it had an added value to increase its strength. The strength may be with reference to flexure strength, shear strength, or compression strength, whatever may be the type. So the CFRP is a one method of rehabilitation which is intended to add the strength parameter, that is rehabilitation. So this video is that is why we are going with the CFRP system. Now this is a small video which you will be seeing. CFRP is not only coming in the sheet form, it is also coming in the form of laminates. Sheet is just like if you visit a cloth store, you will be seeing a pant bit or shirt bit. It will be coming like that. Now it is made of polymers, the CFR carbon polymers. It has a high tensile strength, 2 to 3 times more than the concrete. Now you see in this video, you will see laminates. So every time, whenever you are involved in rehabilitation, first thing you have to map the existing reinforcement. Okay. This video shows the negative reinforcements to increase the strength at the top. If there are any tension at the top, I cannot go by jacketing, breaking all the existing concrete and then put a new reinforcement. That is not possible. So the another method is I can go with the wrap CFRP laminate. So to the required length, the laminates are cutted and it is cleaned and it is been coated with the saturant. And it is applied at the marked location on the top of the slab. Then you are pasting your laminates. So in this way, you can increase the tension if you want to introduce some new tensile strength at the top of the deck slab. Now, if I want to increase the shear strength, then the same laminate is going to help. Sorry. My dear friends, here the laminate which is going to increase just like a stirrup, it is going to act like a stirrup. The anchorage of laminate inside the slab is very, very important. That is why this video shows. So drilling a hole inside, removing all the concrete powder. Then the place where the laminate is going to paste, it is prepared surface preparation. It should be no sharp edges. It should be even and smooth. Then the preparation of the chemical for pasting this laminate. Then the curing time is 24 hours. Then you have to mark the width of the laminate to be pasted. Then apply that resin over it. Then inject for the wherever it is anchored. It also should be bonded with the original concrete, parent concrete. Now it is. Now you have to put a roller so that it is getting firmly fitted on the surface of the component. Same way on both sides, because you are going to increase the shear. So it is going to act like the behavior of stirrup. So in this way, you can increase the strength, shear strength by using carbon laminates. It is not necessary every time I have to go with the jacketing. Okay, so this is jacketing, which is we have seen earlier. All these methods, jacketing method, CFRB method, are all to increase the strength in terms of shear, flexure. But nevertheless, you should, whatever the method, you should not forget to maintain the anchorage length, development length. When you are using the laminates, it will come like a small strip, say 100 mm width, or even 0.1 or 0.3 mm thickness are also available in the market. As per your design requirement, you have to choose the right thickness of the laminates. Now this is FRP system, carbon glass aramid. So this is the table that gives the properties of the system. Now this is the view of wrapping the piers. So the direction of wrapping is also very important. When you're going to increase the shear capacity, just like the direction of stirrup, you have to direction of wrapping should be there. This photograph shows to understand, my dear friends, why these women carrying these wooden sticks, why the outer side the ropes are round. Why you have to think out of box? Why always stirrups are provided on the outer side, outer face of the reinforcement? Why the reinforcement are not tied on the outer face, outside the stirrups? Because the stirrups not only go adding value in terms of shear, my dear friends, you should never forget this term, confinement. Confinement is a beautiful term that involves in our detailing process. That is the term which holds the main steel firmly when it is subjected to load. Because in terms of column, you see, when your load is acting along this axis, the difference between beam and a column, whenever you ask the students always used to say a beam is a horizontal member, column is a vertical member. In addition to that, my dear friends, the column is a member where the load is always acting along its axis. That is why the column is subjected to buckle. When it's subjected to buckle, that means your load is acting along its axis. So the behavior is going perpendicular, it will bulge or buckle on a lateral face. That is the definition for Poisson ratio, lateral strain by longitudinal strain. Any member, if it is going to be a beam, the big structural behavior will be always perpendicular to the load. If you go to the beam, the load is acting always perpendicular to its neutral axis. Okay, my dear friends. So by this photograph, you can correlate how the wrapping, and you should also never forget why the stirrups are always provided on the outer face, confinement in addition to stirrup. Even in your concrete lab, you yourself, the students can experiment. You can take a sample, provide the steel bar outside of the reinforced stirrup and concrete it and test. You see the difference. It will fail very quickly. Now, first step, removal of all, preparing the surface. No sharp edges, grooves. It should be smooth. Apply primer, apply saturant, then you have to roll it as per the direction of the increasing the strength parameter. This is the view of that photograph. In terms of slab. Now this is the actual, we will, in our project, we always used to get more than 70 years, 80 years. How I can make the physically fit that my old bridges to carry out a heavy load. So I have to increase its strength. So I cannot go with the jacketing. So my easiest way is to increase the strength by using CFRP system. This is the laminate system. Now this is a view of cracks. So cracks should always cut in a like a V shape. Okay, this is a view of the crack after V groove cutting. This is a small video, my dear friends, to understand physically how the cracks are cutted, V groove cutted at the site. I'm just rushing up. You should not use some chisel like, okay. Okay, now after V groove cut, it has to be filled with epoxy or PMC as per the site requirement. Then you have to anchor it. So you have seen the steel bonding anchoring in a small video. So you have to mark the location of steel plate and you have to map by using cover meter, and you have to avoid the anchoring not to disturb the existing reinforcement. So this is after completing the drilling. Then this is the view after steel plate bonding. So this is another way of practically you can increase the strength of any old bridges. So with this, we have come to this long discussion, my dear friends. Since we are in a very pandemic period, I request all my audiences to increase their immunity, just like how you are maintaining a pH value of concrete by eating all healthy foods. Okay, and always wear mask and wash your hands. Protect yourself and always say vanakkam to each other. Thank you all. Be safe. Have a healthy life. Thank you, madam.
Thank you, sir. So,
Thank you, sir,
one
for this
question
wonderful
from the student
opportunity.
side, sir. Hello, sir.
Okay.
Questions from
Yeah,
one
I'm
of the
hearing, madam.
students. One of the student is crack repair
Please,
test is safe. Hello. Crack repair test is safe.
Repeat the question, madam, kindly.
One of the student, Mahmood Anas,
Crack
third year
repairing.
student, is asking, crack repair test is safe.
How to repair the crack? That is the content of the question, madam.
Whether the test is safe, because already the structure is somewhat damaged. He wants to know whether the test is safe.
Okay.
In that point of view.
Sir, my dear friends, you have to always keep in mind, NDT, you are not going to disturb the functionality of the component. So that is why we call it as a non-destructive testing. So my dear friend, you have to always keep in mind the crack. Before you taking a call to do any repairing, you have to understand these two points. One is what is the crack width and what is the crack depth. So crack width can be measured by using a crack scale or a crack microscope, and a crack depth can be measured by using a UPV test. So after understanding whether the crack has been propagated within the cover or beyond the cover. So after understanding all this only, it is always helpful, a healthy way of implementing the crack sealing.
Thank you, sir. Another question, sir. From Arjunan sir, for reducing cracks, what are the prevention methods we have to adopt?
Sir, the concrete is always subject to crack only. See how our human body will always subject to infection. Can anyone live without any infection at any point of our life? No. Same way, concrete will always subject to crack. Don't never get panic by seeing the crack. Crack is a symptom representation of the tension, because concrete is very weak in tension. So it is a symbolic representation of its release in. So when a crack appears, it releases its tensile stress. That's all. The important point is you have to understand whether it is structural or non-structural. So how to define what is the pattern? If it is a flexural, what is the crack width? What is the crack depth? If it is a shear crack, it will always a 45-degree crack. If it is a flexure crack, it will come like a vertical in the beam. If it is a column, then it will go for a circumferential or diagonal crack because of its inadequate in steel, because of aging and so many factors. But nevertheless, after getting a clear picture of these three data, crack width, crack depth, and the pattern, then you take a call what type of treatment, whether a structural treatment or non-structural treatment. Whatever you're doing with the crack sealant, that is only a non-structural, epoxy or PMC. It is only a material which is going to close. It is not going to add any value to increase the strength parameter.
Okay. Another question, sir. If the crack is severe, means which method is
Yes,
preferable? Which repairing techniques is preferable?
So it depends upon the in the component. See, if the crack is say shrinkage cracks, better you do say crack sealing. Say monopole, that is one example I have shown where monopole you have to just paint over it, so brush over it, so that this material will seal the crack, and because of its low viscosity and it will easily penetrate deeper inside the crack, it will close, so and it will avoid the ingress of moisture. When you stop the ingress of moisture, when you stop the ingress of carbon dioxide, sulfur dioxide, or environmental effect, then your durability is maintained.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Another one, sir. Another one doubt. Corrosion of steel bars. For example, the situation is bridge across River Kaveri in Srirangam, Trichy, as well as bridge across the branch of Kaveri River in Karakkal and Nagapattinam coastal area. What is the difference if the cracks occur in both the places? What are the...
Sir, corrosion means when the structure is very close to your salinity area, the rate of corrosion will be very high.
Okay.
When your component is very away from the salinity area, like chloride effect, when it is away from the industrial area, the rate of corrosion will be very less. But however, in both the area, your concrete structure is exposed to the atmospheric. Because of carbon dioxide effect, also the corrosion will increase. That's what we have seen a simple test, phenolphthalein indicated test, carbon dioxide effect.
Okay,
Because
sir.
carbon dioxide, when it reacts with the iron, it will become iron oxide.
Okay, sir.
So it is the rate of corrosion. So the only way is you have to maintain wherever the structure, whether it is far they're near the salinity area or non-salinity area, you have to maintain a adequate cover, uniform all along the member, and it should be painted with the additional paint as per the site requirement. So, but this paint should be renewed every 5 years, so that it is something like a renewal coat. After every 5 years, you apply one coat. Then you are maintaining your durability. When you are maintaining a durability, your serviceability will be achieved.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your nice question answer session, sir.
Thank you.
It's a time for a vote of thanks. It gives me an immense pleasure in presenting vote of thanks. First of all, I would like to thank our beloved Secretary, sir, EGS Pillai Engineering College, Nagapattinam, respected trust members, Honorable CEO, sir, Dr. Chandrasekhar, the eminent principal, sir, Dr. Ramabalan, sir, distinguished HOD, R. Ravikumar, sir, for encouraging us to organize the webinar on application of non-destructive test and repairing and rehabilitation of bridges. Today's session was very informative, interesting, and innovating, and lot of response from various participants all over India. This session is useful to the students, research scholars, and faculty members. I extend my profound thanks to our today's resource person, Engineer M. Ravikumar Sir, Deputy General Manager, Structural Division, Roads and Bridges, L&T Chennai. Thank you, sir.
Ma'am, thank you, ma'am. I should express my deepest thanks to Professor Prakasam for inviting me, and thank you, madam. Thank you, HOD sir. Thank you,
Thank you,
management. And I wish you good health and keep safe yourself, madam.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
I
you,
would
madam.
like to extend my heartfelt thanks to our department learned colleagues and to my sincere thanks to students for their support to us to achieve new heights. Once again, thanks to all the participants for attending this program. Last but not the least, thanks to God, whose blessing only we carried out this program successfully. Stay safe, stay healthy. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, madam. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. How to disconnect?
The participants can leave from this webinar.
What is the disconnect switch?
That Chrome, sir. That Chrome. Chrome நீங்க ஆஃப் பண்ணிக்கலாம். Sir, shall I remove?
மேடம்
Shall I
நீங்க
go?
நீங்க ஹோஸ்ட் நீங்களே ஆஃப் பண்ணிடுங்க மேடம்.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay,
Thank
okay,
you, sir.
ma'am.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.